1:09 on the 19th of May, and I just unloaded, and I have a pre-plan, but I sent my empty call, and then I got a message saying I can't send another arrival code, so I don't know what's going on right now. So I'm sending another empty message, and it's stuck in my outbox. So we'll see what happens. So, and maybe by the time it sends, I'll have my 30-minute break done, and we'll see where we go from there. I have a pre-plan that says I'm going to Jackson, Tennessee. I'll pick up at 4 o'clock, and I'm going to somewhere in Minnesota. Let's see, what does it say, the pre-plan? Jackson, Tennessee to Dodge Center, Minnesota. So we'll see what happens. It is 14:23, and 5 more minutes and my 30-minute break's up, and I came to a Pilot because that's where I like to park. I calculated that I have 41 miles to where I'm going to be loading, and then I go to Dodge Center, Minnesota, and it's this is like an 800-mile trip. Excuse me. So tomorrow will be a full day of just driving, no dropping off or picking up. And then I can drop off, drop off Thursday morning and see what I get after that. Let me give you a taste of what happened over the weekend. There you got the typical startup sounds, but then I found something new. Yeah, lane departure. While I was, it doesn't get much better than that. While I was home for Memorial Day weekend, they installed, I don't know if you can see it, a speaker there, and a speaker there, and a button right there, if it'll focus. Let's see. And it's a lane departure warning system they moved my camera. I've got a piece of napkin in there to stabilize it, because for some reason it's developed this gap. But anyway, there is that forward-facing camera. So notice I said forward-facing. It's not facing inward. So I mean, hopefully not everybody gets in an uproar saying I'd never drive for a company head, and it's facing forward for, recording that kind of stuff. But it's also for seeing the road and determining where you're at in the lane, so it can warn you if you're veering off your course. So we'll see what this load looks like, because it's described as steel channel angle and chains only requirement and tarped. So it should be interesting. It sounds interesting anyway. We'll see once we get there how this is all going to work out. Well, if you ever wondered where, that game Farmville, I found it. Here it is. Middle of Iowa. The food and fuel stop at Four Corners. It's at the corner of Iowa 92 and US 218. And they must park a lot of cattle trucks here, because I could smell it. Alright, I got a load of steel. And this was different. If the tarps, this is like triple layer tarp job here. So I got my regular tarp, I've got my canvas tarp, and under that's a layer of plastic, so I guess that needs to be protected. Also, it's hard. It's all different product. It's in 2 sections. Got a back section of 5 and a front section of 5. Each have their own 4 chains, and there's no blocks in between the steel product, so there's a gap of, I don't know, 4 to 6 inches depending. So what that requires is that we actually run the chain over and wrap it around the product. And I guess the rules for that are no less than 1 product and for a single chain, and no more than 2 products. So you end up, as you go along, kind of, what would be the right term? You kind of skip products or bundles as you go. So the 2 outside bundles have at least 2 wraps of chain, in addition to these other chains that just go straight over. And the center ones will have at least 1 or 2 wraps around the product, plus all 4 chains going over the top of it. And it's the same for the back section. So far it's been good, and I haven't had any problems with it. I would think it would be one of the more less stable loads, in the sense that you tighten up your chains as best you can, then you do all this tarping, and any movement may cause your chains to loosen up. And every time I checked, so far so good. They're still tight, but because I have like 2-inch channel in a stacks, flat bar, you have the V angle or L iron or whatever you want to call it, but it's stacked up in like there's like 100 pieces in it, and it's like 2-inch 1x2. And so, I mean, you tend to worry about bending product with this wrap method, and people, non-Maverick truck drivers, are saying, hey, you don't have to use chains at this location. And well, I can't go by what they say. I have to go by what my company requests or tells me what to do. And on my order it said I had to use chains on all the steel, which was no problem. It took 1 hour and 36 minutes for me to chain and tarp everything. And the reason for that is at this particular location they had a safety fall mechanism. They had these big huge walkways that would line up to the side on both sides, so you'd get off and go to the front of the truck, and there was a control panel, and it would move these huge aluminum walkways that were, you know, about 2 feet off each side, and it would push them up against the side of the trailer. So this way it would be a solid walking surface on both sides, and then it had a gate that came down on the front and on the back to prevent you from falling. But I fell, not off, but I mean walking on the product, because you have all these gaps in between the product, and there's a gap between the 2 sections. So I'm laying out tarps after I've got plastic on it, my canvas tarps. Sorry, there's flies here. And then I was pulling out my vinyl tarps, and as I was pulling back on my front tarp, I'm pulling it, trying to be careful where I'm walking. Then I stepped right in the crack and kind of fell down. There was no injury or anything. It was just more I was caught off guard. And thought, yeah, no matter, here I'm trying to think about everything I'm doing, and yet stuff still happens. So you can never be too safe. And so in order to like attach my chains, I would throw all my chain stuff on, and before I could tighten it down, I'd have to get off the truck, move these walkways away from the truck. Wow, the insects here are horrendous. Yeah, they must park a lot of cattle trucks here, because I wouldn't even camp in an area like this. Is ridiculous. Anyway, you pull these walkways away, then I went around and did all my chains, pushed the walkways back to, you can't get on if you get on your trailer without this fall protection, they can kick you off the property. And they had video cameras everywhere, so I was doing it by the way I was required at that shipping location. And after I attach the chains, I push the walkways back on both sides, get on there, secure all the chains, roll out all my tarps. So I was planning ahead so I didn't have to do this very often. And then I pinned down my corners on the front and pinned down the corners on the back and kind of rolled it out a little bit. Then backed off the walkways again so I can come down and actually pin those corners. Then I pushed for the last time, I pushed my walkways back against the truck, got on there, spread out my tarps to be exactly where I wanted them, tightened them up, pulled them against my pin corners so everything could be tight. And so all these bumps you see in there are the actual binders, over center binders, and the ratchet binders in their chains. These little humps in the vinyl tarp. And then I got down the last time, pushed the walkways away, and then I can just do bungees. So I didn't have to get on the truck again after that. And it went, I mean, that went quick. The longest part was getting down, moving the walkways away from the truck and putting them back again. I've got about, by the count of this video, I have about 3 minutes left on my 30-minute break. And I learned something today. I gained some knowledge. I should make this a separate video. I think I will. So I guess that's the teaser trailer for a follow-up video to this of something I learned. And I'll give you a hint, it's about breakdown pay. Alright, off to Minnesota we go. There's parking at my co-signee, so I should be able to park there and then deliver first thing when they open. So talk to you later. Bye. I don't know why would I say talk to you later, bye? It sounds like I'm ending a phone call.